Hello everyone. So welcome to uh, a new episode of KT in NPT. So today our episode is research talk. So research talk is a section in which we will be discussing about researchers who have Indian researchers who recently completed their research work, and we're going to interview them and ask them to talk about their research and what they found out and what is its value to physiotherapy as an overall profession, and specifically their findings and their contributions. Now, usually such talks are given in conferences, but the format of conference often does not allow us to have a broader discussion on the findings, because most of it has a very limited time limit and so on. So in here, in this format, I hope that you will get more chance, and also they can explain every aspect of what they have actually done. So today we have this today's talk will be moderated by Mr. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, a physiotherapist who is working in All India Institute of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, Mumbai. He's been working there for about 7 years now. Now he will be moderating today's session. Over to you, Sheikh. You need to unmute, Sheikh. You need to unmute.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, sir. And I'm happy to moderate today's session of knowledge translation. And today we have two speakers who did their research in physiotherapy, and two young researchers we have now. I would introduce them first before proceeding to the actual session. First is Ms. Happy Mekadia. She is a physiotherapist working in Valsad, Gujarat. She has a master's degree in physiotherapy, and she is a gold medal recipient in her both undergraduate and postgraduate degree. She has keen interest in implementing research evidence in practice, especially in the field of neurorehabilitation and within the constraints healthcare settings in India. As a part of her PG program, she had conducted a RCT evaluating how spin in abstracts of RCT influence physiotherapists' interpretation of the results of the RCT. And thank you for joining us, Ms. Happy Makadia. And our next speaker is Naveen Kumar, currently working as a lecturer in the Department of Physiotherapy, Sri Devaraja URS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Karnataka. He had represented his work on spin in article published by Indian physiotherapists in the prestigious conference Evidence Live that is held at Oxford University, UK. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Naveen Kumar. And before proceeding to the actual session, I would like to emphasize why we had chosen this topic, why spin in why spin in research should be, why we thought of this. Spin in research is comparatively a newer term to most of us. We may not be able, we maybe have been knowing about critical appraisal and stuff. With the increasing emphasis on evidence-based practice, we felt it is important for physiotherapists to know about what can be the drawbacks also. So spin is considered as one of the major drawbacks. So we thought of we would like to sensitize.
Sheikh, you're unmute.
Sorry for that. Yeah. And before going on to the actual interview or research talk, I would request Ms. A.P. Mekadia to give us a short description about what spin is. So we may not, as it is not a very familiar term to most of us, I would request Happy to give a brief description about what is spin in research.
Sure, sir. Okay, so good morning, all of you. Speaking in very simple terms, I'll start with very simple terms. Spin is abbreviated for, like, you say positive and you ignore negatives. So the articles which we read, which are published, they are not actually the study. They are the report of the study which the author has done. So when the report is given inaccurately, it is called spin. If that reporting is inaccurate, it will definitely mislead the readers. So when the emphasis only on the positive sides of the research, they don't mention about the negative outcomes or the negative aspects. That is where the authors spin their report. So the findings are made to look more stronger than actually what they have found in the study.
Sheikh, you're muted again.
Unmute your mics. Unmute your mics.
Yeah. That's fine. Thank you. Yeah. So we can say this as a biased interpretation, right?
Yes, exactly, sir.
Biased
It's biased.
projection of
Yes.
interpretation or biased
Yeah.
projection.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. And I will go and Naveen, can you tell us about your research project, how you arrive at the research topic or the research question?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. This spin is critically not a new concept. It's a kind of a classical concept which is being used in public relations, marketing, business, right, to influence public opinions, right? But the interest of spin in field of medical as well as clinical research is relatively recent. It can be said like past 2 decades, past 2 decades. And Professor and Saran, a few years before, even in 2014, I think, and from whom I learned critical analysis skills. And they also showed me some earlier research works on this particular topic. And while we were doing bibliometric study. And after that, when we went for our literature search, we found out some earlier works in late period of 1990s itself, like letter to editors, editorials, commentaries. And they have mentioned it as some sort of misrepresentation of results. When compared to conclusion, those results are irrelevant. And even Trisha Greenhalgh, she defended that editorial, like these are kind of essential elements of writing, and she told that scientific literature stripped out of spin is like drink without a buzz. She just literally means that. And after that, consequent articles and consequent research on particular topic just showed the size of problem actually it holds on the consequent research on each and every disciplines like cancer, medical literatures, and so on, cardiovascular diseases studies, and all those researchers told that the problem is huge and there is some considerable amount of prevalence of spin in each and every set of disciplines. So we thought that it is time to estimate the prevalence of spin in physiotherapy as such, because we all know that physiotherapy research is that too in India is in a growing stage. It's increasing gradually, and number of articles published each year is increasing. So we need to have this kind of awareness, awareness about spin, particularly in an Indian culture, Indian physiotherapy research, so as to improve our future research quality and also improve our practice as such. So that's the reason why we came up with such a topic as such.
Thank you, Naveen.
Sorry,
I would like
sorry.
to. Yes.
Sorry,
Yes,
Sheikh.
sir.
I think a lot of
Yes, sir.
people have not muted the mic, so it's
Muted the
very
mic.
disturbing. So can you please?
I would request
Prakash, I think
everyone,
I'm
all the
done.
participants,
Yeah.
to
I have
mute
done.
their
Prakash,
mic,
I think-
please.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Naveen, we are also losing your voice, so Yeah. maybe
Voice.
you might want to Switch off your
Oh,
video. Your video.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would like to ask the same question of tell us about your research project or how you arrive at the research question to epimechalia. Can you please tell us?
So, sir, as Mr. Naveen has said, that we knew about the problem that spin is already existing. We also knew that, yes, it is prevalent. But the next question was, if it is prevalent in the articles, how it is impacting the readers? Like if I'm reading it, how much it is influencing my interpretation? And also in the field of physiotherapy, that was the part where research was lacking. So much research are not done in the field of physiotherapy to check about the impact of spin. In the field of cancer, Ms. Bochon and her colleagues have done the research. So we thought of conducting a randomized control trial where we thought of including the participants as clinicians because they are the one who are implementing the knowledge into their practice. So we wanted to see that how it is, how the presence of spin is impacting their interpretation by reading the results of the randomized control trial, particularly who are having non-significant results.
Thank you. And I would ask Naveen to share your findings so that giving a brief explanation of what did you find in your research. Can you share with us?
Before that,
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
we
sir.
ask audience if they have grasped
Yeah.
the idea of spin so far what they
Spin,
have
yes.
explained? So if anybody
Yes,
is
sir.
still have not grasped what spin means, you can ask, so maybe they might
Yes,
explain again. Because it might
Yeah.
be difficult for us to go forward if we have not grasped what spin is.
Not for yes, got it. Yeah. I would ask the participants if have they got a brief idea or what at least understand like what is spin and how it can impact the research activity, research findings. Is it so? Or anyone doesn't have any doubts, you can directly unmute your mic and ask the speakers, please.
Tawfiq
Yeah, it is from Mohammed Tawfiq. Can you explain again?
It would be better if they add a context to the spin, like it will be better to understand.
Okay.
with some
Okay.
example.
Give us an example. Give us an
Yeah.
example and then describe what can be the what a spin is. Yeah.
Okay. So for example, if I'm the author or if I'm conducting a research, okay, so I have a particular hypothesis that my treatment, the experimental treatment which I'm giving is beneficial than the treatment which I'm comparing, right? So just in case if I get non-significant results, the treatment is not actually effective, then what will I do is I'll write that I'll not mention about the p-value or anything. I will state only the positive aspects of the research and I'll ignore the negative one. So if my primary outcome is not statistically significant, I will not mention anything about it and I will be commenting on other parts of the research that in secondary outcome we did got the good results and everything. So the negative aspect is ignored. I'll only report the positive aspects.
Shall I tell something?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So it can be way more called as a linguistic way to express the outcomes. So they will just try to express in such a way that it's impressive. It will just influence the readers. That will just hide the non-significant results. So they will just believe that these results are actually showing that treatment is effective when compared with a control group or a comparator. So when we look at the data, when we look at the actual results, it shows that there is non-significant, and the conclusion actually depicts treatment is effective. Like that. This is the context. Is it making clear?
Can we say that as
it's like you distract the readers from the negative results. It's like cherry picking. You just pick up whatever you like and you will report that particular things.
Can we say that as just ignoring just mentioning at only one point of time where it is non-significant and then emphasizing the other aspects or those parameters which has been significant, focusing more on that, deviating the readers?
Yes.
You can say like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. For example, they also focus on within group statistical analysis, and they will tell that both the treatments are effective when compared in within group comparisons, and they will just either conclude the study as equally effective for a non-superiority trial, or sometimes they will also tell that this group has more significance within group analysis than the other group. They'll just explore in the way that it is more effective like that.
I'm sharing a published article example. Maybe we'll be able to grasp it.
Yes, sir.
So can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is a published article that shoulder taping reduces injury and pain in stroke patients randomized controlled trial. Right. So if you look at the objective is to study the effectiveness of shoulder taping and conventional treatment versus sham taping and conventional treatment. That is actual taping and conventional treatment versus sham taping and conventional treatment. They want to, so obviously it's a superiority trial, meaning they expected that shoulder taping and conventional taping together will be superior to a sham taping and conventional treatment. right? So if you look at the outcome that they have been, you can see clearly, it's getting highlighted, yes?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if you look at the primary outcomes were visual analog scale, that is pain intensity, shoulder pain, and disability index, right? And secondary outcomes were changes in the range of motion at days 14 and 30. This is the primary outcome. Now, if you look at the results here, you can see that they have written there was better reduction on VAS, right? So if you look at carefully in the actual result, that there was mean difference was 3.7 mm, right? And p-value is 0.45. Now p-value is 0.45, meaning there is no significant difference, right? But they ended up saying better reduction, right? Which is the opposite of what they should be saying. And if you look at 3.7 mm, most of us know that VAS scale is a 10 centimeter scale, right? So you expect them to say it in centimeter, right? So 3.7 millimeter in centimeter, if it's translated, it is 0.3 centimeter. So not even a 1 point difference.
But
can you see that, right? So one thing, they got a statistically non-significant, meaning any difference they have got might have just been a chance effect, not a real effect. And SPADI score, disruptive scores, as you can see, it is 3.5. And again, you need to see what is the total score in SPADI, right? Which is, I don't know, maybe it's 100 point. I'm not sure, but they might want to check, right? Mean difference 3 point. And again, you see statistically non-significant. So this is what both of them are trying to explain, that when this study author actually get a non-significant result, when there is actually no difference, they ended up saying that there was a better reduction. This is a spin, an example of a spin. And you can see the conclusion also, they are saying there was a trend towards that. And they have finally mentioned did not reach statistical significance, and shoulder tapping for 2 weeks. And it is actually, there is a trend towards reduction, pain reduction improvement, which is also not true, right? So yeah, it's just an example. I was just trying to point out what exactly is the issue, right? Yes, you can continue.
Yeah, in the first instance, I myself had thought like when there is a difference of around 4, it is good. And then after you pointed it out, I realized that it is millimeter and not centimeter. Yeah. Okay.
That was what Naveen is pointing, linguistic. I don't know if it falls under linguistic. Your centimeter scale is put into millimeter. And we might have to find a new name to classify this thing. I think we are having some issues with Sheikh. Sheikh, are you there?
Meantime, we can also ask participants if they have more questions.
So, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I got disconnected. Okay. Happy, can you tell us about your research findings and what did you find in your research?
Yes, sir, sure. Like we had 2 groups. Like one group were the clinicians. They had to read the abstract with spin, and the other group had to read the abstract without spin. So we did found a moderate difference between the two groups. We had a 10-pointer scale. They had to answer on a 10-pointer scale after reading, and we got difference of 1.8 mean difference. And medium effect size, which suggests that yes, the presence of spin is influencing the reader's interpretation of the experimental treatment given in the abstract.
Happy, can you say what is in that scale, what we asked them to rate?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
and
sure.
Also 2 different versions of articles which we used.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, I need to show the articles which we had. Okay. Okay, so we selected an article, RCT, which had a spin in it. So we kept one RCT which was original, and other RCT we have rewritten by removing the spin. So one group had to read the article with spin, and the other group had to read the article without spin. And the primary outcome was based on the article which they have read. Do they think that treatment, the experimental treatment, was beneficial or not? Now, since the RCT had non-significant result, we expected the answer to be it's not beneficial because it was non-significant. So the group which read abstract without spin, they scored the score towards treatment to not be beneficial. It was 0 to 10, 0 being treatment not beneficial, and 10 was treatment being beneficial. So in the experimental group, we got the scores which was less than 5, that they suggested that treatment is not beneficial. So we had mean difference of 1.8, which suggested that there was moderate difference between the two groups. The readers who read abstract without spin, they were less misleaded compared to the one who read with spin.
And in your research project, you had given only the abstract, right? Abstract with
Yes,
spin and
abstract.
without spin. And
Yes,
to the
with
Indian
spin and without spin.
Yes.
Yes, Indian physiotherapist.
Okay. Naveen, can you tell us about your?
Sorry.
Yeah, sir.
Can I just interject?
Yes.
Again, it's in numbers, which I'm assuming nobody can understand what is 1.8 or moderate or something like that. So in plain language, what is it?
The readers who read abstract without spin, they were less misleaded to interpret the results
I
of
understand.
RCT correctly.
I understand. What do you mean by less? That's the point I'm asking. It's an adjective.
Okay. Yeah. Sir, we had RCT which was non-significant, right? So ideally, when we read it, the experimental treatment is not beneficial. But when the author spinned the abstract, they told that the experimental treatment is beneficial, right? So the readers who read the abstract without spin, they interpreted the results correctly, that the experimental treatment is not beneficial.
That is 100 out of 100?
No, sir. The mean score was around 4 for the experimental group. In 0 to 10 scale, 0 being not beneficial.
No, don't tell me as experimental, and that's very confusing for me. Tell me as the original abstract and the modified abstract.
Okay, so the one who read modified abstract, they interpreted the results correctly.
I'm just showing the actual question asked because maybe it might be slightly clear. Hope you're able to see the screen. So if you see, this is the question that was actually asked. After reading the abstract, we are asking, do you think treatment A, that is the experimental treatment, would be beneficial to patients? And they have to score in the scale of 0 to 10. 0 is...
Oh, it's a VA scale. Okay.
0 is very unlikely.
Yes, 10
is very likely. So more towards 10 they score, more they think very likely, and which means they are influenced by spin. More towards 0 if they come, and that means they are able to understand. Right? So what we found the actual numbers are, just a second, let's see if I have the table. Yeah, I think I have the table. I'll show results table. Yes, here it is. Yes. So the first question is the primary outcome. So let me just zoom in. So this is what, as I was saying, the more closer to 10 is they are misunderstood it. This is more closer to 0 is they have better understood it. The first column here, this is the abstract with spin, which is abstract without spin. So this is the results what we have got, the mean difference between S is 1.8 points. They are closely, I think, unlike.
There are other questions also in that.
Yes, these are all what we consider secondary outcome. None of it was significant in terms of statistical significance. There wasn't much difference in terms of how they valued that study in terms of methodology and so on, importance of the study, because these are all considered to be somewhat confounders. So it is measured to what extent they think that article is important, because they that might have influence, but there is
right. So if it is 6, can you slightly come up? Why are you answering? She should be answering anyway. So if it is 6, it seems that they are not completely agreeing, right? They seem to think that there is certain amount of uncertainty or spin. Do we assume like that if it is 6 or something like that?
Yes, that means that they are not that much confident in answering that if treatment A is effective or not.
Right. And 4 again in the other direction, what does it mean?
That also, like, somewhere they know that it's not beneficial, but maybe around, like, they are rating it around 4 or something. Like, it's what we assumed is like we have kept the middle value, that is 5. So both the scores are nearby 5, sir.
Okay.
More
what
than
was
5
your
or less.
right? What was your estimated effect size you wanted to have?
Sir, medium effect size.
No. What
We
was the difference?
calculated. We calculate the sample size by keeping it medium effect size.
Right. What did you define medium effect size as? 1 point.
That is 0. Yeah.
Sorry, how much?
So 0.6 we have got.
No, I understand that. What was the effect size you assumed in your hypothesis?
0.5.
0.5. Okay.
I think there is miscommunication with both of your terminology. You are asking for mean difference, she is saying effect size, but you are using
right.
mean difference. So she is
right.
effect size. You might want to say what is the mean difference that we have used for sample size.
Right.
So like mean difference, I guess we have to use the effect size and power. In pilot study we got 4, but since the number of participants in pilot study we had less, so because of that the mean difference which we got.
I'm just asking you. Did you say, for example, did you think that if the difference is 2, I will accept the hypothesis, something like that? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir, we did.
So what was that? Because your mean difference is 1.8. That's what I'm asking you. Did you have?
So we also we assume that mean difference, if it is more than 1, then also we will be accepting the hypothesis.
Okay.
And we did this based on the previous studies which were done
right.
on the impact of spin.
Right.
Because since less number of studies has been done, so we did the calculation based on this way.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And
why it was not made like yes or no question, rather it's made like a vast question? It would have made more sense, because what we see both the groups are falling in the around 5, which means they are uncertain either way.
Right.
So
so for the proposal, when we proposed this version for the first time, we thought the same, that do you think the treatment is effective, yes or no? But like 3 studies have been done in the same way. They have used 0 to 10 scale. So we emailed Ms. Botron, who has defined spin and everything. So we asked her that we are thinking of using a scale of like either yes or no. And we also asked like, what was the reason that you chose a 0 to 10 scale? So she said that it's better that we check the confidence of the readers, that how confident are they in rating that the treatment is effective or not. So we took her suggestion, and based on that, we selected a 0 to 10 scale.
No, confidence, how VAS scale indicates confidence, but yes or no doesn't indicate confidence. Both indicates the confidence.
I think I'm assuming
So
uncertainty.
The uncertainty. Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead. I'm just wondering. That's all. I don't have a clue what you're talking.
Hello, sir. Can I have a question?
yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, the scale you used is a Likert scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there any MCID
Yes,
for
ma'am.
this Likert? Is there any MCID for your Likert scale to be sure of our findings?
No, ma'am.
For example, when sir gave example VAS 0.3 mm, we all know that it is not a clinically important mean difference like that. For this Likert scale, anything like that, this much should be the mean difference so that we can take it as a clinically important
No, ma'am.
score.
It's not there. The MDC value for this Likert scale is not there yet.
Okay. So how can we be so sure that it's impacting the clinician's decision?
Ma'am, we have concluded it based on the effect size and the confidence interval which we have got.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ignesh, do you want to
Any
ask a question?
So,
Any other questions?
sir, you showed a list of questions. I wonder, is there a question like to ask clinicians whether you would apply this in your clinical area or will you use this treatment to your patients? Is there a question like that?
Actually, we have masked the name of the treatments to control the bias, the personal bias for the choice of treatment. So the name of the treatment was not given in the abstract.
Okay. I think this would be more appropriate. Like there is like the result of reading article is applying in a clinical area. So whether this is affecting that choice of we have, I think that would be appropriate. Okay.
Every clinician has a personal choice of treatment. So we have not mentioned the name of treatment because that bias would have affected our results. So we have masked the name of the treatments.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Thank you.
Did you give the modified abstract to the people who rated it less, like the control group? And did you check whether the confidence of choosing the treatment has changed? Like, did
Sorry,
you
sir, I didn't get it.
did you switch over the abstract?
No, sir. No, one abstract was given to only one group. Switching of abstract was not done.
But can I just ask from what Vignesh was asking? It seems to me pertinent that whether it is written as X treatment or drug name or the treatment, can we not just ask them that, okay, will you use the X in your practice or something like that? Because I found that question to be interesting, because if I'm slightly confident, I may say that, yeah, I may choose it, or I may say I may not choose it.
Yes, so that could be, yeah. Yes, it could be added.
I also suppose everybody can chime in that, not just you.
Sir, I think based on one abstract or one article, I don't think a clinician will switch over or can say for certainly that I will go for it or I will not go for it. That's why I think likely or more likely would be the better choice. Where I am going towards opting for that treatment or I'm still uncertain. I think with the one abstract or one article, clinicians may not be accept or reject treatment. That's what I feel.
Sir, if you place this in context, if some therapist or clinical therapist have pre-existing belief about certain treatment, right? So if they come up with a single article and single abstract like this, they will just continue to give the same treatment as such, right? They will
No,
not think that.
No, we have assumed that here we are not going to talk about the treatment. We are going to say it is X or Y. We are not going to say this is manual therapy or exercise or something like that. Right?
Okay.
So we have already blinded the treatment. And also to Sheikh's understanding that I understand it may not be based on one abstract, but within this context of the research question, it is for this research, will you change your mind or something like that?
Yes.
I'm not sure of the question, whether asking that will make any sense. Please go. Yeah, please go.
I think Vignesh's question is very relevant, right? Because essentially we are looking at whether this interpretation is going to influence their choice or not. And also, like again, Sheikh has offered an alternate explanation that do we really think based upon one abstract people are changing? Now, the way I see it, it points to all relevant questions about which we have not explored so far. Which means that there is a very little information. I think the study has brought out these inadequacies of how clinicians actually make decisions based upon evidence, and we can ask whether these evidence ever influence their actual treatment selection or not. Right. So these are all what major confounders, maybe mediators of their decision, but which means that I would like to think it as a future studies will have to consider multiple variable and probably have a factorial design or like Saravanan was suggesting, a crossover trial, right? So many of these things future trials has to explore how these confounders may or may not influence. And as so far what we know is there are only 2 RCTs has been conducted so far on addressing the same question, which means that we are very early stage, and all these questions needs to be explored, and probably future trials have to, consider these confounders and control for it, and probably have a different group ways to respond to see how, to what extent these variables are actually, because we are interested in eventually how it influences their decisions.
I just want to add one more thing to the discussion. This is nothing to do with finding fault with what you've done or something like that. Please don't take it in the wrong sense. Just everybody is trying to understand this, I suppose. We don't have a clue what is happening here.
That is the problem is because conventionally, people who have just finished, they have this conference mode of thing.
Right.
So they are asked questions, they have to respond. This is nothing. It's something. You can't change what somebody has. Okay, we will listen to it. That's that.
Right. And also doing an RCT is far more difficult than doing anything in life. Right? So I just also found out that we'll just even ask here, how many of us have read a negative trial? How many of you have just seen a negative trial results ever, right? Which I think is one of the reasons why we are maybe reluctant. I and Prakash, we are talking about these things for quite some time, about these things. One of the things it seems is we are not used to seeing it. So I find it, that may be difficult for people to see it in the context of, okay, it's like what I have read and things like that. Or the other thing I also want to know is, I think we should ask this question. Have you ever changed your thinking of X treatment or Y treatment based on an RCT result? I think we need to ask that. Also, the other thing, what Sheikh was telling, probably we should do this for a systematic review findings rather than a single RCT. Is that a way to go?
Do you think instead of
suddenly everybody has stopped talking?
You need to end the question like a question. People are having trouble whether it's a question.
You are expecting more questions.
Yeah.
Right.
You think instead of an abstract of an RCT, an abstract of a systematic review might, be more meaningful?
Yes, sir, exactly. Because it includes almost all the RCTs done for the same problem and the treatment. But in that also we'll have to take care while reading it. Rather than blindly following it, we should critically read it,
So that
because
is,
presence of spin could be there in systemic review also.
yes, sir, there is one study published by Nassim too. They have included around 66 systematic reviews done on low back pain trials, low back pain physiotherapy research. So in those, they have just mentioned like 9 out of 10 abstracts in systematic reviews had spin, some sort of spin in them. So to be clear, even in systematic reviews, we have spin. So to be clear, even in systematic reviews, there is chance of adding spin in abstracts as such.
Check.
So shall we go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. Naveen, share with us about your research findings and what did you find from your research?
Yes. So we just did a PubMed search of articles indexed in Medline from 2000 to 2018 that were published by Indian physiotherapists. And among 140 relevant articles, we included 44 RCTs with non-significant results in primary outcomes. So in case if primary outcomes is not specified very clearly, we just focused on
Naveen, can you tell us about the
objective
results,
study and
results of
whatever. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what we found is around 90% of study, that is 40 out of 44 included studies, had some sort of spin in any of those sessions, like
And you studied
results or conclusion or
specifically
abstract.
randomized control trials published by Indian physiotherapists, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Go on.
So we included only RCTs published by Indian physiotherapists. So we found that around 40 articles among included 44 articles had some sort of spin, that is 90%. So some of them might or might not influence the readers, but the trouble is 72%, that is 72% of conclusions had some sort of spin, like they are just told that treatment is effective, and they are concluded to recommend the treatment to use in clinical practice.
Naveen,
So
you
that
have
might be a
reviewed
big
only
issue.
abstract, or?
Yeah, we have reviewed abstracts as well as full text, results, discussions as well as conclusions.
Right.
So in all those sessions, there were about 90% of spin in included studies. So among 40
Naveen?
articles, some. Yes, sir.
Yeah. How did you come to that percentage? Like, what made you to say like this is spin and this is not spin? Yeah. Can you please explain that?
So we just adapted a checklist developed by Bautzen on critically analyzing the each and every sections of article from the abstract till the full text, main text, results, discussion, and conclusion. So it was like they had several items in the checklist where, for example, if it is like in conclusion, if spin is present, there are some sub items like.
Sorry, Naveen, can you share it so that we can see that? Prakash, can you?
What?
Can you share the checklist so that we can
Okay.
see the checklist rather than just the words?
I mean, which checklist from that article?
Just to make me to share, sir. I will share.
Okay, right. Just a moment. Yes, you can share.
So this is kind of checklist. So, strategies of spin or just described in left side column. sorry, row. So in this, if you look at this, starting from spin in title, so they have given some strategies, explanation for these strategies in their appendix. So I will just show you the appendix first, so that it will be easy for. Right. So this is an appendix published by Bouchan. So in title, if they are claiming treatment effectiveness, the example they have given like.
Naveen, you are not audible, Naveen.
I think we have to share it and he has to just read it.
He's
It is there in Bouchan's cancer article, the spin trial.
Right.
So if you can share it.
Yeah, I'll get it. Okay, I'm sharing that article. Naveen is there?
Listen, Naveen, go down in network problem.
Okay, so can you see this one?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so this is what, just a moment. Yeah, this is the guideline that was used to rewrite, but more or less similar how it is written in different places. That is basically they're asking to clearly state what it is and remove all the common spin in different sections. But this is about the abstract, not exactly what they have done. Just check. All right, I think we can move ahead. Sheikh?
Yeah. So in Naveen's research, I presume they had done it whether if there is spin in the title, yes or no, in that format.
Yes.
If it is there, they would have selected it as yes, spin in the title was present.
You can add
on. Saravanan, you can add on, right?
Yes. Just
Hello?
explain.
Yeah.
What is the question?
No, it is like there was a checklist which has been shared now, and if there is a spin in the title, they had just made it as yes, the spin in the title. It is the decision by the researcher, right?
Yes. Thing is like if they come to the conclusion like the treatment is beneficial, even though the result suggests the other way around, and the title suggests that treatment A is beneficial, then we consider that title itself has a spin in it. So then we will say yes for that particular checklist.
Whether that decision was been done by one researcher or it has been cross-checked by
two.
Okay.
Two researcher, and if there is any discrepancies, the third researcher was contacted to settle the dispute.
Okay. I think we can go ahead with the next question.
Yes.
This is to
Naveen.
Naveen. Naveen?
Yes, sir. I just popped out. Signal.
Yeah.
Signal is not there, so.
Okay.
It's not there.
And you
Yes,
want
sir.
to add anything else? Anything more?
I don't know what they added.
What is your final conclusion? Tell us.
Yes.
Yes. I think that we think that there is a substantial amount of is it clear, sir?
You're breaking.
Only this was clear. Your question.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There is a
can go
substantial
ahead.
amount of spin as a problem in Indian physiotherapy research. So we need to have some sort of problem solving kind of thing to do on this issue.
Okay, thank you. And this is next to Happy. Like mostly the PG students usually go for researches like comparing two interventions and come to with the comparing two intervention was usually the mode of theme which we always go. How did you come up with such an research idea or a research question in the first place in the PG level?
Yes. So honestly, I just knew about the term knowledge translation. I knew about that area, but for the further like narrow it down, Prakash sir helped me, and he told me about the spin, and this like that thing hit me differently. It was very unique from what others were doing. And other thing was like since less amount of research has been done in this particular area, I thought of going for it. And again, like as you said in my introduction, I had this interest to see that how like till now what we know is that evidence is only up to the academics part. Whether it's translating in the practice or not, we don't know. And I had interest in practicing physiotherapy in clinical aspects. So it was like both of the interests came together. So I thought of going for it rather than doing an interventional study because yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great one. And Naveen, can you tell us about how you managed to present your work at Evidence Live, Oxford University?
Yes, for me it was a fruitful experience at this point of age and as a early career. We didn't have that much of practice also before going, and one idea Arun sir gave is he just asked me to present in front of roommates if you have any in your staying place, and I started to do that. When I reached that, I started to explain and explain those presentation whatever I am going to do on actual conference to two or three friends in my room who stayed with me. And after that, I took a step beyond and I met some of the wise peoples in that Center for Evidence-Based Medicine. The co-director of CEBM named Kamal Maktani. So I just met him by the first day morning, and I explained him about my topic again. And after that second day, I met Ben Golekar, and again I explained him about my topic, and I just took practice like that and made my nervous just load down. And by the third day, when I met Isabel Boughton again, I just explained what I am going to talk by the evening. And she was just presenting the same topic and conference by the morning, and I was presenting at the afternoon session. And when there was familiar faces who I already explained about those presentation, I was a bit confident, and I too did well on those presentations.
It's 12 hours.
Check.
Yes, sir.
Check.
Yeah, that's how I managed to present. And the sad part is I went alone, and so this was the only thing I can do to make my nervousness to come down.
And as a final thing, I would like to ask Happy, like, can you tell us how to spot a spin at the abstract level? Can you give us a simple 2-3 guidelines or a checklist, like what all the things, if I am reading an abstract, I am what are the primary things which I have to see to find out a glaring spin at least?
So first we should start with the title. If title is directly saying that this treatment is effective, it's better we should like doubt at that particular point of time and critically read the abstract. Second is we have to see what are the primary outcomes they have mentioned in their objectives, and then you simply check it with the results, that what are their primary outcomes and have they mentioned clearly about the primary outcomes or not. check for the p-value. If it is non-significant, it's clearly, we know that it is not effective. Then check for the conclusion that how they are saying.
Excuse 1 second. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but the sentence which you made that if it is not significant, it is not effective, right? I think that needs to be cautiously noted, right? Prakash, can you just interpret that?
And sorry, I think you will. Wasn't we will
Lack of significance is not equal to lack of
correct,
effect.
Correct. We will stick on to our participants first. Then we will ask Prakash to do it first.
Okay, sir, I meant that if they hypothesize that their experimental treatment is going to be, if it is a superiority trial, it's necessary that they get a significant results for that. So if in the conclusion, if they are mentioning, if they have got statistically non-significant results, and if they are mentioning that it is more superior or it is equivalent, then that is spin at this particular point of time in the abstract. So the like the selection of the words which they have mentioning in the conclusion, that should be taken care of. If it is a superior trial, saying it to be equivalent, effective, or more effective, so that is a spin in the abstract level.
I think Vasantan sir want to say that non-significant doesn't mean less effective. With that, we make an,
Yes,
so
sir.
we can say that the it is unknown, or it is maybe because of chance. Yeah, inconclusive.
Yes,
we can say it doesn't inconclusive,
yes,
rather than
inconclusive,
not
yes.
significant, right?
Not effective. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. We can also ask Naveen to say how they think that it should be rated.
Yes, sir. I'm coming to him.
Yes,
Sorry,
there are some studies which has reported like if there is a lack of significance, they can just report it as either inconclusive, or there is lack of evidence to suggest the treatment as beneficial, rather than going it as that the treatment is not effective, or as we know that the lack of significance might be because of type 2 error also. So there might be less samples to actually depict the effect size. There may be some other reasons to actually depict the effectiveness of the certain treatment. So the reporting of conclusion can be like inconclusive, or either a lack of evidence to suggest a treatment A, and they can also recommend for future trials with certain suggestions, so that we can have good evidence on supporting such treatment and like that. So that can be the reporting as such, sir.
I think the simple way to look at statistical significance is, because statistical significance simply asks a question, that is whether the difference observed might have arisen as a result of chance, or is it really because of the effectiveness of treatment. When we get a statistically non-significant, it basically says it might have arisen due to chance, right? So we cannot make a conclusive evidence. So we really don't. Then we need to think why it might have. There are maybe many reasons. Sample size, low sample size, or the difference really very small. There are many other, because it's a random thing, we can't really point out. But it just says that we cannot come to a clear conclusion that whatever difference that is observed was due to a particular treatment. So it just, we can't come to a conclusion.
And one of the relevant conclusion is telling that if there is lack of evidence, lack of significance, we can, some of the reportings are telling like they are equally effective, and or either treatment is not inferior to the control group, or experimental group is not inferior to the control group. So is it the right way to report if in case of lack of significance, Prakash sir?
Absolutely not. That's a problem, because the statistical significance doesn't tell equivalence, because statistical significance does not test equivalence, right? Because you are making hypothesis, basically it is an yes or no hypothesis, right? So it doesn't say both equivalent. when you're conducting a superiority trial, your hypothesis is one is better than another. So
Yes.
it is commonly it is recognized as a spin when they say both treatment is effective, or both is good, or all are not acceptable conclusions.
Yes. So the methodology and the hypothesis and aim of equivalence and non-inferiority trials completely differ from superiority trials, or it is same as
Without going into the complexities of hypothesis testing, the common hypothesis that we test is superiority hypothesis only. There are entirely different assumptions has to be made when you are testing equivalence or inferiority.
Okay.
So that's how I.
Okay.
Is there any doubts or any questions to be asked to the speakers? Please, participants, please unmute yourself and ask the doubts or ask the questions.
Vasantan sir, do you want to put something on?
I'm sorry, that's fine. I think it was very interesting to look into this. The only thing is, I'm not sure about the whether the clinical significance or the effect size need to be communicated in the abstract so that it will be more direct rather than inferring from a frequent test approach like a p-value. That's I'm not sure about it, but is that how if we are reporting it will be better?
No. Here the issue is because the spin is commonly found in non-significant results. That is why the clinical significance often doesn't come in here, because people resort to the strategies where usually when they are get a non-significant result. In most of the studies that is evaluated, the inclusion criteria is to select non-significant results and then see how they spun it.
You mean to tell that clinically also non-significant?
It would naturally, when you don't find a difference, minimal difference statistically, so naturally there won't be a clinical significance, no?
Yeah, that's non-significant, but still the effect size can, the reader can interpret it, right? In case he wants to interpret it.
Yes, sir. That is one suggestion given by all the previous researchers. Like instead of reporting it p-values and significance, we can go with confidence intervals and point estimates, where it will be more interpretative than when compared with p-value.
Yeah, that's what I was also trying to tell.
Yes.
The other thing I also find to be sometimes it doesn't make any sense if they say there's a moderate difference or high difference between groups and things like that. If it can be said in a more plain speaking manner, which will be beneficial, I suppose. But I don't know how to do that. But just my understanding that it can be more in plain language rather than just saying that there's a huge difference, big difference, something like that. Also.
The problem with the kind of conclusion you're suggesting is the choice of outcome measures. That is often doesn't allow us to make a plain.
Right.
We still have a long way to go to get there. Check.
Right.
Prakash, what I was thinking is if when the results are communicated in terms of values of the outcome measure, then the maximum score on it, when it's added, I think that problem can be solved, right? Rather than communicating so many points out of so many points was the change which we got it.
but there we are assuming the readers to be knowledgeable about what a 10 point actually means, because we cannot translate this 10 point into any meaningful outcome. It's a debatable topic, I understand, but how
Yeah,
do we
true,
do it?
true. I agree with that. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions from the participants? If you you can either put it in chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Sheikh, I think there is a question from Nagaraj about the example of spin in a title.
Yes,
Prakash,
sir.
can you share any?
No, I've just put in the response over there. The previous
Oh, okay, right.
article,
That's
which
the
we have
okay.
seen, that
Right.
shaping article also has Naveen, you are having too many problems.
Naveen, yeah, I think you need to.
Yes, we can see your screen now. Can you roll on where the titles?
Naveen?
Okay, Naveen, we will move forward.
Right.
I think the example can be like where when it shows it is the treatment X is beneficial or improves the certain outcome. That can be the title. It is not actually backed by the finding.
I will share the example, sir.
Yeah.
We included in the study.
Yeah.
Naveen, can you close sharing? Right.
Sir, if you allow me, I will share the screen.
Yeah, you should be able to do it. You should be able to do it.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. This is one study which we included in a study where the title itself have concluded that the precondition of exercise is equally effective. But as you see here,
There's no significant
they have mostly what they have done is within group comparison, and they have also mentioned there is no significant difference on other markers of muscle damage. You can see there is no significant difference. So what they have just found out within group analysis showed both interventions provided similar protection, which I think at first place it cannot be conveyed like that because technically the hypothesis which we have for superiority trial cannot be applicable for claiming that both are equally effective because technically it's different from the superiority trial. So I think like what Nagaraj said, as this is one of the example where we can see spin in the title itself. Sir, did I answer you, sir, Nagaraj?
Yes.
Because when you see the title and the result, we can understand that there is a mismatch or there is a wrong interpretation in the output. Mostly they have highlighted the within group analysis, and that's what they have said here. Similar protective, which cannot be claimed like that, and both the treatments could be used reciprocally based on. I think that again was not the objective of the study. So I think this cannot be claimed without being studied inside. So
now the problem with this kind of conclusion, though, it's not about statistical significance. Even if you have statistically significant result, you cannot conclude both treatment as effective, because because there is spontaneous recovery and many other variables that is there. in a basic fundamental research classes, they will teach you internal validity, threats to internal validity, right? There is a list of things that can threat the internal validity, and mostly they are missing this out. Both treatment improved doesn't mean that is the only variable that is affecting the outcome. So even if it is statistically significant, one cannot conclude in an RCT that both are effective. That requires a completely different assumptions to start up with, and say, for example, what is their baseline recovery potential, right? Without that, we can't even say that everything that happens after treatment is not because of treatment alone.
I myself have a question. Like, can we resort sorting to databases like Cochrane will reduce this kind of spin in the research findings, or is it there in Cochrane databases too?
The systematic review. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Finally.
The one study I talked about, the study published in they are including 9 Cochrane reviews.
Naveen, voice is breaking again.
Yes. Is it clear?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, in that systematic review study, they have included 66 systematic reviews, of which 9 are from Cochrane reviews, and there seems to be less spin. That is, they have 7 systematic reviews out of spin. That is, they have not included any spin in the systematic reviews. So it can be said that there are less spin in Cochrane systematic reviews and compared with other systematic reviews.
Spin is like COVID; it's there everywhere.
Yes.
Nobody is
only thing we can do is just close our eyes and think that it is not there, right?
That's not the only
there is a question from Nagaraj sir, that is how researchers can reduce spin.
Yes.
That's $1 million question.
Yes.
Like we usually have that taboo that if we get non-significant or negative results, we feel that we should not share it. So authors spin it. So the change should begin from that particular point only, that they should not be ashamed of sharing the negative results. It's okay. It's what they have found it.
It's not about ashamed. The proportion of negative results published in journals are way less. Even peer reviewers expect more positive results than negative results.
That is also one of the reasons why the results are spun frequently, because they have the non-significant results. They don't publish it very easily. There is problem in the reviewing and publishing process. So.
Okay, as a clinician, if I am coming across an article which is non-significant, what can I infer from it? What to know from it? As a clinician.
So the yes. So the text of scientific paper, whatever you read, is not an.
I mean, you are not audible again.
Okay, is it clear?
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Can I speak now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the text of article, whatever you read, scientific paper, is not an atlas that gives you an exact path like mapped out in a terrain. So rather it's like a specific path carefully carved by the authors. So we need to just interpret the study in a way that we should be very conscious about these rhetorics, that is about these kind of reportings and these kind of interpretations. And if you are aware and if you are conscious about these interpretations, then we can prevent just interpreting it in a wrong way.
Sir, can I add?
Yeah.
No, like even if anyone is technically difficult to find what is inside the results, I think you can just see if any systematic review is available on the similar topic, and you can just find if it's like um, aligning with what the abstract you're reading, or it's like so deviant from the systematic review. So it can raise some speculation in your understanding of the abstract. I think you can check for the systematic review if available.
Check, I have a simple solution. Never
Yes,
read an
sir.
abstract.
Yes.
Don't make a decision by reading an abstract.
Abstract.
You got to
Yes.
read, and if you're reading, read systematic reviews, and also preferably Cochrane. It is not the best solution, but available best it is.
Yeah, I think if we don't have any questions, we can conclude.
Some sort of closing remarks from both of them?
Yeah. Yeah, I request first Hippie to have a closing remark. Like, what do you want to summarize? Just give a short summary of whatever has been discussed.
Okay, so as we have discussed, while translating what we are reading, it's better that what do clinicians do? Like sometimes they are in very much hurry. They don't have time to critique the whole article properly. So abstract is the gateway to the whole article. So that's the thing which we should keep in mind, that based on reading abstract, we should not decide whether we should give this treatment to the patient or not. It's better you just look into the data, you look into the results section of the text, and critically you decide whether you should give this treatment or not. And if systemic reviews are available, then that is the best option to decide whether the treatment should be given to the patients or not for the clinical practice.
And Naveen?
Yes. Yes. Sir.
Yeah.
Can I speak? Is it clear?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Okay. So first thing to be kept in mind is whatever you read, you just reading the perspective of authors reporting. So just keep in mind that don't jump into conclusion after reading abstracts or after reading just conclusion part. As Catherine Evitt wrote in her paper that you have to listen to the data. Data may speak smoothly, but it is the only one best way to interpret the whole study. So we have to go through the results, data, and then we have to jump into conclusion. And that's the point from my side.
Okay. Professor, you have anything to add on?
Yeah, thank you all three of you. It's been a wonderful discussion to listen to. I'm really looking forward to many of you come and talk about the work that you have done. I think this is a better way to disseminate. So thank you, everyone. Sir, you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to, I'm not sure. I thought it was happy, and then I found out it's happy, right? It's such a great thing to talk in front of people who you can't see with so much of confidence. I applaud both of you and Naveen for having a. I think the discussion went beyond the very small confines of what you have done. So
Yes.
wonderful, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We will again meet from next time onwards. We will have once in a month meeting. I will next month I'll announce the time and date, but next month we will be discussing about circumdactyl gait in hemiplegia. What is it, what to do, why it comes, can it be managed, or if possible, how. All questions related to circumdactyl gait will have, and we will have our own Arioms responding to all your questions. So I'll let you know when the date and time. So all of you, please join us next time. Thank you very much.